about IncubateIND. To give you a brief of what IncubateIND does, we are India's largest and fastest growing community of technology innovators, including startups and student innovators. We work with colleges and universities across the globe, and we have a huge community of developers associated with us. The CodeInnovation series that with whom we have collaborated, it creates an open source platform for colleges and students across India, and the purpose here is to ignite the passion among students to build a better world around us and support open source. As Raymond has mentioned, today's workshop would be conducted by Mr. Kaushik Roy. Post this workshop, there's a hackathon that is scheduled for 29th November. The theme of the hackathon centers around health tech, fintech, and edutech. I would now also like to thank Dr. Manoj Manuja, the Pro Vice Chancellor, Chitkara University, Dr. Umesh Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Mr. Sarvjeet, and everyone who has helped us in this initiative and putting this all together. I would also like to welcome Ms. Surbi Dey from GitHub, who has taken out time here. And thank you so much for coming here and helping us put this all together. And without taking much of your time, I'm handing it over to Mr. Kaushik. Happy learning to all of you.
Thank you, Anamika ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. Hope it's nice time to start with our workshop that we have gathered here. And once again, welcome everyone who are present here to understand what actually GitHub is and how and why does everyone is talking about it. So, without wasting any much of time, let's just get into it. And I'll share my screen once. Okay. So hope the screen is visible right now. So in today's era, when we are talking of developers or we are talking of enterprises who are working throughout with the code and who are developing projects related to computer science or working on projects which relate to some form of coding, they all are aware with GitHub. And so is the student community also getting to know about it. But for many who are not that well aware or have just started with coding and enterprise level code development and so on and so forth, so GitHub may be new for them. So GitHub actually is what we face generally, and it solves the problem in a very nicer way, so that we do not even feel that, okay, so there is something which can handle all our issues. Now, what are these issues actually? So remember, if not only related to development, whether we are a graphic designer, whether we are a software architect who designs the architect of a software, which needs to be iterated, so on and so forth, and there are many more structures wherein we go through numerous changes over the period. So just stating an example, when we are talking of say software development lifecycle, when most of us who were in second year or first year maybe, or even in third year, we go through the software development lifecycle or SDLC or software development, wherein we study what are the different models in which software development is being done. So over there, we see that there are iterative models, there are waterfall models. So these are a pure example of how a software or a code undergoes numerous changes or numerous iterations. And if we are working it manually, if we are working out, what we see is that, okay, I need to create this iteration. Oh, now I missed adding some picture into it. I missed adding one entity into it. So what I'll do, I'll just again create a new copy, name it version 1, version 2, version 3, and so forth. And hence, once the project is nearing to the end, we observe that our 1 TB of hard disk is already full with the different iterations which we were creating throughout the project. Now, this is a huge, enormous task to manage, because if someone asks, okay, for instance, the client says that, okay, this version is not good. The one that you had created 5 days ago, that was looking better to me. I want that. So what would you do? You would then scavenge through all the files and check, okay, when was this file created? When I need to get back to 5 days past. So in 5 days, which was the iteration that I had said. Now that would be a huge task. Now this was just a layer. Add to it the layer wherein you would be working, collaborating with other developers. Now that's a very huge challenge because collaborating with developers, we would be having like say 5 people working on the same project on the same module. Now there may be numerous other modules of the same project. Now all of them are working in sync. So if suppose I am a front-end developer, I have just added a new field into the form, so saying full name, and now a backend developer comes in and he wants to link it to the backend. Now, in this period, while he was adding the backend to it, I have made some other changes to the form. Now, that would be too gruesome, frankly speaking, if we do not have a synchronized way of working, because that backend developer has to redo his tasks again, once again, linking the full name part with the backend. So we need a solution. We needed a solution to tackle all these problems when we are talking of multiple versions being created, multiple contributors working. So their conflicts may be arising. So what is a conflict? Conflict is what when the front-end developer had made the changes, but the back-end developer had made some other changes, and now he needs to get back and make those changes. So that is a conflict which we need to cross-verify or we need to eradicate. So these are and numerous challenges that come when you are working in collaboration. So Linus Torvald, the person who developed Linux, came up with his own solution, which is version control management system, or Git as we call it. Now, what is Git? So Git is an open source version control system. So by version control, what we mean is that we would be controlling the versions. That is, if suppose a front-end developer is working on the front-end part, and a backend developer is working on a backend part, they together can work synchronized in a synchronized manner and then merge all the codes that they have worked, whether it is on the same file or whether it is on the same module. So it eradicates those issues. Now, how do we define Git? So if I'm talking of Git, Git can be understood in a manner wherein a project manager or a person is sitting on top of the entire structure who manages each and every developer, who closely correlates with them, allows them to sync their codes, reminds them, okay, you need to maintain a main branch that is, I would say, a main streamline, and you can work on different branches, that is, different parts of the project. You can create sub branches. We would be coming to these again in detail when we are talking of and having a hands-on of these. So these are the things which actually Git provides. It manages the entire process of software development and helps us work these out. Now, so what happens is that, what is GitHub? Then the next steps comes in. What is GitHub? So Git used to help us work on local repositories, on local directories. So you could share your projects within your own local network, but to have a worldwide view or a open source platform, cloud-based platform where you can store your projects, when you can get it across any device, you can maintain the project, you can look into the commit histories, you can look into the flow and the progress, as well as raise issues and so on and so forth. There are numerous cases. So for that, GitHub was created. Now, without wasting any much time, let's get into the hands-on so that we understand what GitHub actually is doing and how it is changing the scope over here. So what I'll do is just switch over to github.com. So the best way to initiate a project in a college life, or to get to understand how the industry works around the project development, is to start getting work, starting with the initial stages wherein you start working on the projects collaboratively. You start creating projects with your fellow team members so that you do not face those problems and you are well aware of how version control is managed. So just getting started through it. What you need to do is, I hope that everyone must have created a GitHub account beforehand and everyone is with their laptops, hopefully. So if you are not yet with your laptop, we can have around 1 minute more so that you can gather your laptops and devices so that you can just follow in along with me and we get to know what GitHub is. We will see the power of GitHub and then we'll get to know how we can overcome these challenges which the software developers face, and yeah, we'll get to learn new things. So once you have created an account on GitHub, that is github.com, go to sign up and then create your own account using the email ID, select your username. So you can land over to here, wherein everything or every project that you create, as in you store directories or you create folders for your project in your local drives. Similarly, we create repositories in case of Git. So in GitHub also we are creating or gonna create a repository. Let's just name it Hello GitHub. We will just make it open source. So we'll be selecting public, add in a README file, which we will be coming up again later on. You can add a git ignore if you wish to, and you can add a license as well. Once you click on create repository, a repository by github.com / your username as / the repository name is being created, and you land over to a screen like this. Now, what you need to do is, there are maybe questions that, okay, I've created a GitHub repository. Now, how do I code and how do I add files to it? So there are two ways. One is the graphical user interface, obviously, wherein you can create all your files. You can create your code and then simply click on add files and then drag and drop or upload files, whatever you wish to. The other way around, which you will get to know and which we will be following, is using the command line interface. So Git comes in with Git version control comes in with desktop application, whereas it is called GitHub for desktop. Otherwise, you can install Git onto your Windows or your Linux already comes with it, and as well as Mac. So if you want, you can install Git onto your Windows desktops or laptops. Now, once you have created a repository, you need to clone it or make a copy of it onto your local system. So for that, you will have to have the address where this GitHub repository is hosted. So what you will need to do is, once you have created a repository, just go onto code, clone using the HTTPS, create a copy. Now, let's go back to over here, open the editor. The most preferred editor being Visual Studio Code. Open the terminal. If you are a Windows user, you can simply press Ctrl and tilt the button, which is just above tab, and then type in git clone, and then paste the GitHub repository link. Now you will see certain steps are running. It has cloned Hello GitHub, and as you can see, a folder Hello GitHub has been created over here with a README file created onto it. So let me just get into it, and I'll open it with Chrome for better assistance and better understanding. We will simply add in a new file over here, which is that we usually do. Let's just start with HTML project. I've created an HTML project. I'll simply add in a boilerplate, which is the starting of a HTML. Now you can see this stage that this GitHub or this file is untracked by the Git repository, which is a local repository. So when we are talking of GitHub and you are working on your local systems as well as onto the GitHub website, so you have actually created two repositories right now. So you have one, which is the cloud-based repository, which is also known as a remote repository, and I would be addressing it as remote repository, and the one which is onto your local computer is a local repository. So what will happen is that when say suppose 5 people are working onto a project, so there will be 6 repositories together. So each person would be having their own local repository, and then there would be one remote repository which manages or controls or is the central point of the entire structure. Now, just not to waste the time, we won't add so much of styling or other thing to these HTML files. We will simply write okay, hello GitHub. We will add an h1 tag. Hope most of the people are familiar with HTML, the basics of HTML, because it's pretty simple. And yeah, so I'll just add hello GitHub over here. Once you have made changes and you press Control S, it saves the file. Now still the file is untracked by the Git repository. So what you need to do is, now here comes the part wherein you would be learning the commands which needs to be followed. So for the first command was git clone and the GitHub repository link, which is used to clone the repository. Now, one more thing to keep in mind, there are two types of repository, private and public. If you are gonna go with the public repository, then you can clone it. But if you are gonna go with the private repository, you need to have the access to clone it, or you need to be added as a contributor to that repository. So remember, you cannot clone a private repository without the access to it, but you can clone and store any repository which is public by just typing in git clone and the repository link. Now let's move ahead. Actually, what clone does is, as the clone word states, it creates a copy of the repository, the remote repository, into your local drive, and then it is known as a local repository. So we'll just add in this file. So this is another command which you would be learning. So what git add does is it adds the untracked files to the local repository. So once I click git add, now there are multiple syntaxes to it. You can either do git add and then the file name, or what you can do is that git add and then the period, which states that you need to add all the files which are untracked to the local git repository. I'll just press enter. Now, as you can see, this U has changed into index added. So I've added this. Now you can also check that the commit is not yet met. So it has not yet been pushed into the repository that is local. So the next step would be to commit with a message and let the message be, I have started. So now, as you can see, the status of A has moved over here and it has been committed. Now, if you move over to the remote repository, you will still not see any changes made over here, though we have committed it to the local repository. So for the changes to be reflected onto the remote repository, what you need to do is you need to push those changes from here to the remote repository. So for that, what you need to do is now, if I move over here and just refresh the page, what you can see is the index.html that I had added onto the local repository is being reflected over here with a commit message that I have stated that I have started. So this is how actually you can work in sync. Excuse me. So yeah, this is how actually you can work in sync. So suppose, for instance, consider a scenario wherein you were working as a front-end developer. Similarly, at the same time, a back-end developer is working with the same file. No, with the same file, and he's working on something else. So what you had done is that you had cloned the repository. You have made the changes. You have added the changes. You have committed the changes onto your local repository. And then you wish to push it to the master repository or the remote repository. So this is what it states that the only thing that you need to do is git push. Now, if you wish to push those changes to some other branch or to some other location that is multiple remotes could be linked to a same repository, and there are a number of cases which could appear. So for those, there are different set of commands wherein you can add in git push origin and the branch name. And origin, you can define the remote as origin. So there may be different commands or different attributes attached with each syntax. Now to move ahead further, what I'll do is that I'll just start with creating a branch so that we all get to know what a branch is and how branching actually works and what are the utilities of the branch. Other way around, if we get over here and to check how proficient or how well it works, you can see whatever I had typed in over there and had pushed the changes are actually occurring over here. And still you can make the changes over here as well. So let me just show it to you. What I'll do is I'll just add in, yeah, I'll just add in a few details onto the remote repository. So this way, you can also get to know how you can pull the changes or get to see the changes which are already being done by other developers onto the remote repository and have it copied onto your local repository. So I will just write in a commit message that is I have made some changes to remote and then commit it directly to the main branch. So yeah, one important thing that a few of you may be knowing and few who have already started like 3 to 4 months back using GitHub. GitHub earlier used to have the main branch known as the master branch. But right now, like a month or ago, so they have made some changes to their nomenclature, and now the main branch is known as the main rather than the master branch. So yeah, so previously, if you go to any article onto the internet and you find git pull origin master or you find git push origin master, it won't work right now into the new repository. So just keep that in mind. It would be git pull origin main or git pull origin master. So let me just commit these changes. Now, as you can see, is that you have created those changes. Now, let's just head over to our local repository. Over here, what we will do is we will just check our status. So what we will do is we will get checkout on which branch we are currently. So we are on to origin main. Now what we'll do is we will simply get pull origin main. So what this command origin main does is get pull origin main does is that it pulls all the changes made over there and then reflects over here. So you can see none of the changes that are made onto the remote are being reflected here. So I'll just press enter. And there you go. You can see the field that I had added or the text that I added has already occurred over here. That is how actually Git works. That is how actually version control works. Okay, now this is the part wherein we would get into further details. Hope I'm not going a bit faster or a bit slower. So let's move on ahead. We have done with some of the commands, like let's get back quickly to our PowerPoint so that we get to know what we have done and what we have covered. So we have created a new repository. We have seen how to commit. We are yet to do branching and merging. We have done cloning a repository. Now git init is a command which you actually use when while you are creating local repositories first, and then you need to push it so you can use it while using Git onto your local systems. Otherwise, the best way to do so is create a repository onto the GitHub and then clone it onto your local systems. Now we have used git add, we have used git commit. Git rm is simply just removing a file from a repository, and git mv is to rename or move a file from a repository. Let's get to git branching now. So yeah, now let's create a scenario wherein a client has asked you to come up with two models or two versions of the same project. So suppose the client said that, okay, I want this page to be green and I want this page to be blue as well. So what will we do? So in that case, what we need to do is we would be requiring different people to work on two types of projects, wherein they would be creating one project with a green color, the other one with a blue color. So before we get to the branching and other concepts, what I'd like to do is we would just get to know what people are understanding. I hope you all are getting well. So let's just stop for a bit, get to know if there are any queries on the part that we have done till now, and then we can move ahead. So if anyone has any query, just ask yourself. So yeah, if anyone has any queries regarding the what all we have done, what is Git, how to create a repository, how to pull from a remote repository, how to push to a remote repository, and anything else, you can freely ask so that we can cover those doubts. By the way, okay. Yeah, I have got a few questions. How to create a repository, how to push to a repository, benefits of GitHub. Okay, so basically let's redo it once quickly so that we get to know. Just before covering up all the doubts, I'd just like to ask a few questions. So most of you are most probably from first year or second year or maybe third year and fourth year. So what's the scenario over here? If you are well aware that what's the crowd like, so that we can, I can basically get a bit linear or get deeper into the commands. Okay. Okay, so a few are from first years. So the most important thing and the most questions that I've got is how to learn Git commands. So to learn Git commands, the best way to do so is, I'll just get over there. Hope the screen is visible. If you want to learn Git commands, move over to lab.github.com. It's a beautiful site created by GitHub wherein you can get to know the introductions to the GitHub. You can get to know how to create your first repository using GitHub. So this should be your go-to website to understand how GitHub works, or you want to know Git command. And one more thing, if since most of you are from first year and second year, you can still use the GitHub for desktop, which is the graphical user interface provided by GitHub, rather than moving on directly to the command line, because command line may be sometimes confusing or may be difficult for you. So yeah, let's get back and start with the few solutions that I need to start, which is how to create a repository, which is the most asked question, and then how to commit. So basically, we'll just redo all the steps, and head over here. So to create a repository onto GitHub, what you need to do is you need to have your GitHub account. As soon as you have created a GitHub account, you will land over to something which looks like this, similar. Go over to new over here, which asks you to create a new repository. You can select a repository template, which you could avoid, which may not be appearing right now to you. You can select the repository name or type in the repository name which you wish to have. So just say hello Git version 2. You can select it as a private or public repository, as I told you earlier. If your repository is public, anyone on the internet can get to know your repository. Otherwise, if your repository is private, only the people who have access to it can look into it. You can add in a README file, which we will be covering up later. It is actually an important part of it. And then just create a repository. So that's the easiest way to create a repository. I hope this time I'm clear. If the people who are having doubt, please just drop in a feedback so that you understood how to create a repository. Then we would get back to how to clone a repository. Okay. So now coming to cloning the repository. To clone a repository, there are numerous ways. You can either use GitHub Desktop, which is present over here. You can either download the zip of this repository and then extract it onto your local system. But the best way, which we as developers prefer, is that you copy this GitHub repository URL, move over to your command line, wherein you want to have that file created or the Git repository created. So obviously I'll move over here, wherein you can see I have a folder GitHub. Just open the Visual Studio Code over there. Open the terminal. You can open the terminal using the Control plus tilde icon. You can toggle it on and off. Type in git clone, which is the command to clone a repository. Paste the URL, GitHub repository URL, and then press enter. That's it. So as you can see, the repo has been cloned over here. Just check out over here. You all can try it as well. So that is why we are going a bit slow, so that you can practice it and follow it. So yeah, I got a pretty good question actually. What is a repository? So when we are talking of folders, directories, similarly, a repository is a directory or a folder, basically. A bigger folder, I've said directory as that would be a better term, which stores multiple folders of the project. So when we are talking of industry level projects, each project has different modules and each module have multiple folders and each folder has multiple files with different extensions. So you may be having .xml files, you may be having .html files, you may be having various other files. So a repository, you can understand a repository as a directory which is hosted on cloud somewhere on GitHub server, to which you can have the access anytime from anywhere on any system by just cloning it and then doing all the operations which you wish to. Hope this was pretty much clear. So moving on next, we are done with cloning the repository. Now let's say how to contribute, which was the next question that I had over there. So contributing is pretty simple. If you want to wish to contribute to a repository which is not owned by you, so you can obviously not make changes to it directly. You would be required to generate pull requests to that repository. So we would be coming to that a bit later, because that's a very important aspect of contributing to the open source community, as well as you would be requiring that to contribute your project onto CodeInnovation series hackathon project submission as well. So obviously we'll be learning that, but first we need to understand the basics, which is the git commit message, the git add, the git pull, and git push. So if anyone has still any queries regarding git pull, git push, git commit, please just drop in onto the chat. I'll just let you understand. Okay, yeah. So I've got a question. How to add a complete folder to Git? So as I said, Git add is a syntax and it has different attributes. If you wish to add a single file, what you need to do is git add and then space and the file name. That's it. But if you have multiple files or multiple folders that needs to be added, all you need to do is git space add space period. That's it. And that's the syntax, and it will add all the untracked files and folders which are into the repository to the current running repository. Okay, yeah, we would be doing push and pull. What do you mean by cloning a repository? So by cloning a repository, what we mean is that we will be copying that repository, making a copy of that remote repository onto our local system. Okay, so let's get to push and pull and as well as get add out. So you once. So what I'll do is I'll simply just create a folder over here. We are on to Hello GitHub. We will create a folder. Let's just say demo folder. So as to you understand how to add multiple folders or files onto a, I'll just add a text document or text file, dummy one. And now I'll just add another file. So as you can see, I've added these folders over here. Now, if you will look into here in the file architecture system, you can see these files are untracked right now. And if we move over to the remote repository, we can see those changes are not yet made. Let me just get back to the repository which we are working on, which was github.com, our previous repository. Let me just get over there. Yeah, got it. So you can see none of the changes have yet been made. We have added a folder named demo folder, and we have added 2 files in it. Now to add all these untracked files and folder, what you need to do is simply type in git add -dot. Now, once this is done, you can check over here that this index has been added over here. Now what we will do is we will write in a commit message, git commit. So what actually commit is? Commit is just a common word that we use. It is actually, so I am committing that I have made these changes. It's as simple as that. So let's go to get over here. I will type in, I have added a folder. Now, as you can see, there was 1 folder and 2 files. Once I have added git commit, you can see the commit message over here. If you can, okay, I'll just zoom in a bit. Yeah, hope now it is pretty much visible. So as you can see, I have added in over here the commit message. I have added a folder, 2 files changed, 0 insertions, 0 deletion, and the create mode has been created. Now all these changes have been made only to the local repository. That is my repository on my local system. Now, if I wish to make those changes, if I'm, excuse me, if I'm gonna make these changes reflect onto the remote repository, I would require to push those changes. So as the word states, pulling is getting something from the remote repository to the local repository, while pushing is pushing something or adding something from the local repository, that is from your own system's changes, to the remote repository. So we'll just show it to you. Git push. Now it will push all the new commits that have been made from the last time it was pushed. So I'll type in git push origin and then main. So this states that git push origin is the canonical name or the name suffix to the remote repository right now, and main is the branch name. I'll press enter. Now you can see all this has been pushed. Now if you move over to GitHub and refresh the page, you can see the demo folder has been added with the commit message. I have added a folder. Now if you click on it, you can see both the text files over here. So hope the adding process or adding a file and folder to the GitHub is clear to everyone. Yeah, so there's a good question. What if someone pulls my repository and changes something? Okay, yes. So even if you have a public repository, until and unless you have not created contributors or added someone as a contributor, he or she would not be able to make the changes directly to the remote repository. The only thing that that person can do is generate pull requests. So we would be coming to that as well, how to generate a pull request. Otherwise, miscreant people will simply just change the open source files of Microsoft and GitHub or Google, because there are n numerous repositories of live projects, open source projects, which are working, and then any person, any XYZ person can go over there and then make the changes. That would be a huge. So that is why, even though the repositories are public, you can clone it, but if you wish to make changes or those changes to be reflected onto that repository, you need to have the access to that repository as a contributor. Otherwise, the only thing that you can do is you can generate pull requests. So for that, we would be coming to forking as well. Yeah, you can obviously undo those changes. So let me just show you how you can undo those changes. There are various commands. You can use git reset, you can use git hard reset, and then add in the commit messages. So each commit that you create, now that's a good question that I got over here. So if you observe over here, the push message that I had added, and just before that, the commit message. You can see before commit, there's this like a random digit created over here, which is known as a commit number. Now you can address or get back to this commit anytime through your repository by adding git reset and the commit message or the commit number. Now, as you can see, the same code is reflected over here. And if we move over to GitHub, you can see the same commit number is reflected over here. So at any time, the best way of the best utility of GitHub is that at any point of time, you can revert back to any code. Now let's move ahead a bit because it's getting delayed, I suppose, and we are still stuck with. Okay, so local and remote repository. I'll just explain it once again. So remote repository is a repository which is centrally located, and local repository is the one which you have. Now let's move ahead pretty quickly. So we have done with git pull, git push. Now what we need to do is we need to create branches. Now branches are like different, the client has asked the production team or the development team to create two versions, which is one is red colored and one is green colored. So in that case, you need to run two pipelines or two parallel sub projects in which there will be different entities. So to do that, Git comes with Git branches. So what we'll do is just type in the following command, git checkout. What checkout does is helps you switch. Now to create a new branch, I will type in -v and give the name of the branch as alternate. So you can see switch to new branch alternate. Now, if I will do this, hi, my name is Kaushik, and the client wants it to be changed to hi, my name is Punit, and make those changes because he wants to see the two versions wherein the name is Punit and in one the name is Kaushik. So what I'll do is I'll now simply again git add git commit -m changed name in branch alternate. Now what I'll do, I will just git push. So what it says is that the current branch alternate has no upstream branch. Right? What it means actually is that the remote repository has only one branch, which is main. And now I have created an alternate branch, a branch named alternate onto the local repository, and it is not able to push it to that branch. So what I'll do is I will just create a branch named alternate onto the remote as well by simply just setting a upstream into the origin with alternate. So if you will see over here, right now there is only one branch. Now, as you can see, I had just pushed it from the local repository and alternate had recent push less than a minute ago, it says. So now if I will refresh it, you can see there are now two branches. Now those two branches are totally independent of each other. In main, you can see if I'll open index of main, you can see my name is Kaushik over here. But if I'll open alternate and then go to index, you can see, hi, my name is Punit. So this is actually the magic of Git, wherein you can have multiple iterations of the same project learning going ahead in synchronization. So from right now, you can totally work on a division wherein Punit goes ahead with and a different person goes ahead with the Kaushik. So this is how actually you can manage or run your project. So just consider a scenario. You are participating in a hackathon with a group of 4 people. Now, one of the mentor gives in a review that, okay, you have created a beautiful project, but just try adding in black shade instead of the red shade, or try a blue shade. So what you have got now, you have got a task from the mentor that you need to create two versions of the same website, one in black and one in red. So how will you do? Will you copy the entire code base and then create two copies of it? No, that won't be an ideal task because it would be quite hectic to create copies on all the systems of all the 4 team members. So the best way to do so is just move over to your Git repository, create a new branch, one being named as red, the other being named as black, and then you can make all these changes. So this is the fundamental benefits of how you can use GitHub. So we have completed branch as well. Let's see. Yeah, we have completed branch as well. Now we need to learn git merge. So what merge actually does is, I'll just simply continue with the same example of hackathon. Now, since the mentor had asked you all, the entire team, to come up with two iterations, which is red and black. Now blue and black. Now in the second checkpoint or the upcoming checkpoint, when the mentor comes in and he looks like, he says that, okay, the black version of the website is looking much better. And he advises you to make these changes overall throughout the website and make it permanent. So in that case, you had the main branch, you had the blue branch, and you had the black branch. Now what you need to do is you need to make that change across throughout all the entire repository and all the branches. So what you would be required to do is you will be required to merge the changes that you have made, that is the color that you have changed into the black branch, and then pull it. Basically, merging is accepting, or so merging is just like adding in two things together and creating a unique product. Similarly, what you will do is you will just merge the entire. Okay, yeah, I'm getting a few requests of repeating branching. Yeah, we'll just do it quickly. So let me just complete merging first. So what you would be required to do is you will merge the black branch into the main branch. So here what I will do is I will simply get over here to show you how merging works. We are into how do we check on which branch we are. So to check on which branch you are, you need to type in git checkout. You are an alternate branch. What I will do is I will add in a new text over here. This is final. Okay, final, and then save it and then add it to the alternate branch. So I will simply type in git commit -m final changes to alternate made. Now I will check out or move over to the main branch of the local repository. Now, as you can see, the code automatically changed over here and it all has disappeared, which I had written onto the alternate branch. Now, what I'll do over here is I'll simply git merge. Okay, so it says not something we can merge. So what we'll do is I'll simply pull in the alternate branch. Wait, let me just head over here. So I have made those changes. I need to push it to the local, that is remote repository. Just a second. Okay, okay. What was the? Yeah. So let me just pull those changes from here. So I'll simply just, now what you can see over here is all those changes that have been made to alternate, I can compare and pull those changes. So this is how actually a message would be appearing once someone who does not has the access to the public repository wants to make those changes. So what he or she will do is simply compare and pull requests. Change name in branch alternate and create the pull request. And there comes the merge pull request command, wherein you can simply merge both the branches and confirm merge. So right now, if we go over to index.html, it is now changed to hi, my name is Punit. Now, let's get to the next step, wherein we need to understand the process of forking and how we can make contributions to different already existing repositories which are present onto the GitHub. So what actually a forking is? If anyone has any doubt till now, just please drop in the chat so that we can cover those up before we move ahead to our final stage, wherein we would be learning how to fork, and then we would be doing a short task wherein we would be, each of us would be generating pull requests from on your own organization, that is Chitkara University organization. Okay, yeah, okay, yes, I'll just explain what merge is, and yeah, you can get the recording of this session as well. So let's move over here. Okay, okay, I got it. Now, yeah, I've done some spelling mistake. It was alternate. That's pretty funny over here. The system never lies. Yeah, so here we can see I've switched to alternate branch. So one of you had a question, what is alternate? Alternate is basically the name which I have given to this branch. So the branch can have any name. Yeah, going through how to explain branching and again merging. Okay, sure. So basically what branching and merging is, branching is basically, as I told, if there are two versions of the same project to be created, you need to create those multiple iterations for it. So that is what actually branching is. You are creating different versions and working on them similarly at the same time. Now, what is merging? You need to merge all the changes. So what I'll do is, now since I've rectified what the error was over here, I will move over to get check out main, and from here I will get merge alternate. So as you can see, though in the remote repository, the master branch or the main branch has already got the name Punit in the main, but here in the local repository, we have still have my name is Kaushik because I have not pulled the main from that time. So what I'll do is I will simply git pull origin main. And there you go. The code has been changed. As you can see over here. Hi, my name is Punit. Now moving on next, we will get to git merge. Excuse me. Git merge and then add in the branch name. So what you can see is merge was made successfully, and from the alternate branch which stated this is final, now we have it in the main branch. So this shows how merging works. So for instance, one of the junior software developers had an idea that he wanted to test his skills. He created a branch of his own onto the production project. He created a branch and then he made those changes. Now his changes were successful. So what he or she will do is he will generate a pull request. Now, once he has generated the pull request, it is upon the repository administrator to merge those changes. Now I have merged those changes and it is being reflected over here. As you can see that this is final. I had typed it into the alternate branch, but it is now visible over here in the main branch. Now, as we are moving ahead, I hope all the queries have been solved. Yeah, so, okay, so the merge was not successful earlier because I was typing in the wrong text actually for alternate. While creating the branch, I misspelled it by removing RN while I was typing in the merge command. As you can see, let me just show it to you. Yeah, here we go. So as you can see, I was trying to type in git checkout alternate over here. That is why it was not able to merge, because that branch actually did not exist. So moving up ahead, let's get and set the motion for the task that we would be doing, so that we would be providing the certificate to all the participants who successfully contribute to the repository. So I'll ask each and everyone to get set with a system nearby you so that you can complete the task and achieve the certificate. So the task for today is getting to know how to generate a fork, how to contribute to an open source repository or open source project which is running. So we'll not do any much big of a task. You do not need any coding skills right now. All you need to do is follow the steps to understand how GitHub works. So I'll move on to Chitkara University. Yeah, here we go. I do have got the access to Chitkara University organization. So I've already created a repository over here named CodeInnovation series, getting started with GitHub. I'm dropping this link over here onto the chat so that you all can go and visit it right now, because this is an important aspect of today's session wherein we all need to understand this feature to be able to complete the task, and then as well as understand, and if we succeed, we would all be having a certificate of our own from IncubateIND and Chitkara University, and it's being a part of GitHub, you would be getting it from them as well. So yeah, I'd request everyone to get over to this link right now. We would be understanding how actually contributions are made and the steps to complete this task. I'll just explain each and every step to you so that you can understand the principle and then make the changes. We won't be doing a huge task. It would be pretty simple task, no coding involved. So if almost all the people are ready, just give me a thumbs up or a yes onto the chat so that we can move ahead. I will once again drop in the link to this URL. Okay, if you have got ready already, that's nice. Okay, someone says, wait for 2 minutes. So by the time people are getting ready, if some of you have already got ready and have few questions, you can drop those in. We can make this a little bit interactive. That would be nice. So as I said earlier, this task won't require any coding skills, so you won't be required to use any code editor. All you need to do is have a laptop with an internet connection, which has a Chrome or any other web browser. So you would only be needing GitHub right now, nothing else. We would all be doing the task onto GitHub itself. We won't be required to have an editor or any sort of software. We will just require a web browser on which you can open your GitHub account, and then we will just be following the steps. If anyone has any questions regarding this or any other questions regarding development or technology, you can just drop in by the time other people get ready. Okay, so what's the use of projects option in the repository? Okay, okay. So as I stated, a repository is a directory. So in a directory, you can have multiple smaller projects or multiple smaller modules running. So that is, there are multiple features which GitHub provides. If you will look into it, you can see actions over here, which helps you deploy it directly. Then you have many other features which GitHub provides. So GitHub is like a huge gargantuan task. As well, I can see few of you have already started forking. So yeah, I hope everyone's ready. If not yet, please just drop in the message so that we can move ahead. We are all waiting for you. So since the questions would be coming up, let me just explain what all these options are. Code is the normal thing, which is the repository or the code content which you have. Issues are like, so for instance, one of the junior front-end developers have made a mistake and it needs to be rectified by a senior front-end developer. So a issue may be raised by the project manager that, okay, this file has an error which needs to be rectified by such and such person. So it's basically the mentioning feature what you use in WhatsApp while chatting. Okay, so this person needs to address this. So that is issue. Pull requests we will get to see in action right now. Yeah, someone has a question how we would create a folder. There is only an option to create a file. I'll just get back to you, Havis. We will just start with the process. So just give others like 1 or 2 minutes more. Yeah, it's okay. 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 I hope everyone is ready by now so that let's move ahead. Yeah. So let's get to it. I hope everyone has opened this link and is viewing this link over here on the web page, which is Chitkara University 2020, which is your organization, and then the repository. By the way, this is your official GitHub organization of your university that we are working on. So obviously your teachers and mentors would be looking into it of how well you are working on. So the first step that we need to complete is you would be required to click on fork. Now what fork is? Forking is basically creating a copy of the repository onto your own account. So there are two different things right now. One is cloning, one is forking. Now some of you may be saying, what is the difference between clone and fork? So in clone, you make a copy of the same remote repository, but in forking, what you do is you are making a copy of that remote repository under your own account. So all those changes that you will do will not be reflected onto the remote repository. So first, if everyone is ready, let's move ahead with the task and just give me a nod, or if someone is not yet ready, just please tell that you are not ready so that we can wait another 1 minute. Otherwise, we would be starting because this is an important task and everyone needs to follow to be able to. Yeah, and one more thing, only those who have completed, who would be completing the task would be receiving the certificates. So, okay, some are still saying wait. Okay, so it's 6:10 right now. We start exactly at 6:12. Okay, yeah, so I've got a question. For hackathon project, we would be creating a similar repository. This is just an introduction in which I would be showing you the steps which you would be required to follow while making the submission onto the hackathon project. So that would be a different task. This task is quite necessary because if you are not completed this task, you would not be able to submit the project during the hackathon, as well as this task has its own certificate as well. So please, okay, so what is the use of the link? So we all will be doing the task from this link itself over here. So I request everyone what you need to do before we start the project, the task is get over to this link. Remember that you are logged in with your GitHub ID. I hope everyone had created their GitHub IDs beforehand. So just log into your GitHub ID as soon as possible. We'll start surely at 6:12 and get over to this link. The link is github.com/Chitkara University 2020 CIS getting started with GitHub. Yes, so we would be starting soon. Just get over to the link. Wait for me. I'll be going step by step. We'll be following the steps. And once we have started, please start following so that you do not miss any step. So yeah, let's get started. Once you have come to the screen, hope everyone is logged in and is viewing the same screen as I am. Get over to the top right corner where you see fork. Just click on it once and then select your account. So you all must be seeing only your personal ID. Since I have different organizations or access to me, I have a list of them. Just click onto your account and then create a fork. So you would be seeing a screen something like this, forking Chitkara University 2020. And onto the top left, you can see that the username of the CIS getting started has been changed from Chitkara University to your username. And a line states forked from Chitkara University. I hope all of you have completed this step. So just click on fork. Then you would be asked to select the account. If you have only one account, it would just be your user ID. Click on it. You would be seeing forking. And then you will have a screen like this wherein you have your username slash the repository name and a statement stating fork from Chitkara University. Hope everyone is done with the step. uh, no, you do not need to create a new account. If you have, you must be having a GitHub account already, so just continue with it. I can see only 27 folks right now, so request everyone to please complete the forking procedure. Yeah, 31 still. I request everyone to fork it, otherwise we would not be able to move ahead. Yeah, please click on fork. Yeah, we would be using the concepts of branching and other stuff. But right now what we are doing is we are learning how to contribute to open source projects. So request everyone to fork as soon as possible, or otherwise we would be delaying in task as well as running late. So I'll just drop in the message once again, the link which is present over here. Yeah, get over to this link. Click on the fork, that is, as you can see my screen, on the top right corner, there's a fork button. Click on the fork. Yeah, once you get over here, click on this fork button, just follow me. Then select the icon, the user ID that you have on GitHub. Since I've already forked, it is not showing over here in the list. All you need to do is click on fork and then the user ID. And once you have forked, you will land somewhere over here which says your username and then the repository, which also states below forked from this, and this. So I request everyone to please do these steps as soon as possible. Okay, so we'll hope everyone has forked, though I can see that only a few have forked yet, only 38 of you. So what's the problem actually that you all are facing? I do not have a GitHub account. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello, am I audible enough? Okay. So requesting everyone to open their GitHub account first and follow the steps. This will eventually help you to learn new things, and we are here to help you, right? So because this will help you to submit your hackathon submission as well. And those who submit this repositories and fork accordingly, they will eligible to get a certificate. It will take hardly 5-7 minutes of your time. So just say yes or done, those who have completed the fork, and motivate others. I mean, your uh, colleagues, your mates to do the same.
Just a heads up to everyone. One of your friends has already created a pull request, as you can see over here. So it should be an encouragement to all of you that someone from among you has done the process on his own. So please just follow the steps and do not lag behind.
Yes, please create your account. It will take hardly a minute. Harsimer, you can create your account and submit. We need to cross this 38 fork to 100. Come on, everyone. So you have got an email on your registered email ID to verify your email account. Kaushik, there is a uh, question from Sahaj.
Yeah, I'm just looking into it. Let's
Signature
compare.
rate 40. Yeah.
So, Sahaj, since you are not a member of any organization on this repository, okay, so you must be a part of. Let me just look into this issue once. So, Sahaj, what you need to do is simply log in with your GitHub account, your personal GitHub account. Go over to Fork and then click on it and then select your account. That is your personal ID, not the organization.
Yeah, new 3 members have joined the arena. Now we have at 44. Great. Kaushik, send the link again in
Yeah,
the
sure,
chat box.
sure.
What are the issues that you are facing, Nitin Garg? If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask directly. No need to put yourself on mute. Let's make it more interactive because this is the way where we all can learn from each other.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, we have not provided them unmuting rights. They can just chat here in the chat box.
Okay. If they can ask to, if they raise hands, you can unmute them.
All right, sir. If they raise the hand, I will unmute them.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Seems like people are facing issues while forking. So for all those who have not created your account, please
Kaushik,
create the account.
Kaushik, can you do one more favor to me? Can you do 0 to end step, like from
Okay,
creating an account, right?
okay.
And
So
and
creating an account would require a email verification to be done. And for that, I will have to have an account because I do not have any email right now. So what I can do is I can simply just show the steps of how to create a GitHub account. All you need to do is go over to github.com. This is the create account. Type in the username. You will be shown the list of usernames which are available. So select one of the usernames which is available. Type in the email that you have. So for instance, I do not have this email ID at present. And then type in a password which you wish to have. And then sign up for GitHub. That's the only thing that you're required to do. Then to verify your account, what you would be required to do is that you will need to be verified to all the steps that are required. Select a student or software engineer or whatever you feel like what your profile is. Usually we are students. You can select your level, learn to code, select any three, and then complete the setup. This is all only that you are required to create an account and then verify your email ID. That's it. And once you have completed this procedure, get back over here quickly onto this link and then click on the fork button over here. Okay, so for those who have already created a fork of the repository, since we have 49 of them, come over here. That is your username slash the repository name. Go to add file, as some of you had a question how to add in folders. Select on create a new file. Now this is the task. You need to follow these steps pretty carefully. So for those who had already generated a pull request and have not followed the steps, please do it again, because only then you would be eligible to do so. So what you need to do is just go through the README file present over here, or else I'm also letting you go through all the steps. Once we have forked the repository, I hope let's not delay much. Yeah, so once you get over here onto this screen wherein you have the username and forked from Chitkara University written, go to add file, click on create new file, add in your name as the folder name. So just type in your name, then slash. So it creates a folder automatically, as you can see, and then readme.md. So for all those who may have missed, once you have forked, get and come to this screen, click on create file, that is add file and then create file. Then you can see something like this appearing. What you need to do is type in your name, specifically your name, because we would be then only verifying which of you have created it. So type in your name and then a slash and then readme.md. That's all which you are required to do. Then again, type the following onto the readme file.
Kaushik, please.
You
So like some students need some more help.
okay? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just repeat it once again for those who have already followed, and let's just continue and I'll just repeat it once again. So not an issue. Type in something that is preferably your name and then I am good in job. That's it. So what you need to do is once you have forked, get over to add files. Once this screen pops up, type in your name, then slash, so automatically a folder is created, then readme.md, and then add this stuff. Create a commit message as in Kaushik is adding. Remember to add your name so that we can recognize which one of you have generated the pull request, and then commit to the new file. Once done this, what you can see is that this branch is one commit ahead of Chitkara University main. So what you need to do is click on pull request And then you can see it says able to merge, and click on create pull request once again. And then once again create pull request with the message Kaushik is adding. And this is what it is. Now if we get back to here, that is Chitkara University, and then so what you can see is my pull request has already been generated by, okay, so many of you have actually got it with so many people following the steps. It's nice to see. You can see that all of you are following the steps. It's pretty good. So for those who lag behind, I'll just repeat the steps once again from forking itself. For all those who have done, it's good. You have almost completed the task. I'd say basically completed the task. This was the task, how that you get to learn how to contribute to open source projects. Now getting back, I'll just repeat the steps once again. So once you land over to this page, that is this link, I do see if you have still not forked, so I request everyone that they fork it as soon as possible. Otherwise, once you click on fork over here, that is top right, you will get to see fork into your account, and then you will see the ID which you want to fork with. Just select your personal ID. And once selected, you will land onto some screen over here, which would be, before that, you'll be seeing a loading screen wherein a fork and a knife is forking on a book. Now, once you see this, get over to add file. I hope everyone is following, those who have not followed earlier. Do not make changes. You would not be able to make changes onto the Chitkara University repository. So I request everyone to first fork. So click on the fork icon. You will then have, pay attention to the top left corner, wherein you can see, only when you see that your username has come before CIS, getting started with GitHub, and fork from this, only then click on add file. Excuse me. Only then click on add file, and then move on to create new file. This is for those who had not followed earlier. Once you have forked, confirm that on the top left you see your username and this statement written below it, forked from Chitkara University. Only then click on add file and then on create new file. Now once you have selected create new file, type in the message that should be the folder name, which is your name. Then once you have typed in your folder name, your name actually by the name of the folder, then slash and add a readme.md and move on to the editor. Type a few lines like, hello, my name is Kaushik, and then add a commit message as, and remember you need to type your name to be eligible for the certification of the task, and then click on commit new file. So as you can see, it has already been committed over here. Now the next step that you need to do is click on the pull request. Okay, yeah, I'm repeating the pull request steps. So once you have done adding the file, click on the pull request over here. You can see a pull request must have appeared. Click on pull request. Once you click on pull request, you must be seeing something like this, which says Kaushik is adding view pull request. Now what this should state is that branch has no conflict with the base branch and you can make pull request. So what I'll do is I have already generated a pull request. So once you click on generate pull request, a pull request would be generated. And since I'm also the owner, I am seeing this as merge the pull request. So you do not need to cancel the merge pull request. You just leave it at pull request. So I can see the following students have already completed their task, like all the names are appearing over here. Sarvjeet, Yasveer, Vignesh, Dushyant. Someone with the name, someone has, okay, Arshad has typed in his name simply. Kritika, Bhavesh, Kritike, Devpreet, Saksham. All of you have done. Someone by the user ID Mehta Parivesh has done some mistake while adding in the commit message. So you can do it once again. So yeah, let's move over to the chat and see what are the queries that are coming up. So once you have generated the pull request and it says cancel pull request, do not cancel it and wait for the pull request to be merged by me, which I'll do later once all of you have completed it. So just leave it over there. Yeah, if you have a different commit message, you can do it again so that I can then we can then recognize, and that would be helpful. So generating pull requests from terminal is a bit tedious task, which simply is similar to how you pull and push from the terminal. But we, since everyone was not able to follow, we would be following this GUI interface from GitHub itself. I hope the steps were clear. So for all those who are facing any problem, I'll just repeat once again, and then we will have the time till today 7 p.m. Till that time, all those who have generated the pull request would be receiving a certificate for the completion of tasks. So let's get back and I'll show the steps once again. Okay, so I'll just repeat the steps for one last time and then we can wrap up the session. So once you click on fork, I will just select one of my different IDs or I will just select IncubateIND. Once you click on fork, you will see something like this with the username, the repository, and forked from link. Now all you need to do is add a file, create a new file, type in your name as the folder name, then press slash, then readme.md, and then into the file just type in a few things like my name is IncubateIND, and then type in a commit message as IncubateIND is adding. Commit directly to the main and commit the new file. So once you get over here, all you need to do is get over to pull request. You will see able to merge. Click on create pull request. Then once again, create pull request and you are done. Now you do not need anything to be done. That's it. What we will do is we will wait for today. All those who are able to generate pull requests till midnight today would be able to get the certificate. So I request everyone, if anyone has any issues or any problems, you can go through the recordings or you can ask one of your friends who have already completed the steps or the task. And with the help from them, you can just complete the task. So that's it from us. I hope it was a learning experience and you have learned something or the other. Thank you, everyone.
I want to extend hearty gratitude to Mr. Kaushik Roy for your interesting address and for sharing with us abundant of knowledge. We really appreciate the engagement you have contributed to this workshop, and I'm sure that this session enriched all the participants with vast knowledge of GitHub. I thank the students who have turned up in such great numbers. Thank you so much for your cooperation in making this workshop a very resounding success. Wishing you all a great evening ahead. Thank you.